Hi crafty friends, and thank you for joining me. So I'm doing a little impromptu video today. Didn't have this planned, but it's a project I'm working on, so I thought I would turn on the camera and show you what I'm up to. So this is my little plaque that I'm making, and what I'm wanting to do is I'm going to pop some little flowers on to make it 3D. So I've been making these and I thought I would show you how I put them together. So I just used a simple flower die, and I'm using the Couture Creations foam around sheets, but there's lots of different makes out there. I also use the Crafter's Companion, and all of the names have just disappeared from my head, but there's loads of good quality foam sheets out there, so get what's available to you. So I've cut them all out, as you can see, and I've just popped them out. And then I have added some colour. Now, because the plaque's going to be all whites and greens, I'm using the white foam, and all I've done is I've taken some of my little inks and using a little makeup applicator, I've just popped some ink on. So these are already prepped, so I thought I would turn them over and show you what I've done on the other side, just so you can see the technique. So I've taken a little bit of scrap paper. When you're shaping these, different sides of the petals come up. So I'm not going to put the ink on uniformed, because I quite like being able to see. In the real world, flowers, every petal doesn't look the same. So what I'm trying to do is create the uniqueness between all the petals and just create a little shading and little tints and tones of the colour coming through. So all I'm doing is dabbing my little applicator onto my ink pad, and then I've gone from the centre out over, just little brush strokes. Going in a circular motion in the centre just to get some coverage of the ink in the centre. Not everyone does the other sides of the flowers, but I think it just adds a little bit more detail. Makes them look a little bit more realistic. And then all I did was using one of my little markers. I've just gone to the fine tip and I've just popped little dots of the green in the centre, just to add a little extra detail. So that one I've gone in the centre and out. This one on the other side, I'm just going to pop some green on the outside of the petal. And then don't forget the sides of the petals as well, because you'll see those when they come up. So that one I've just gone round, and then that's the other side. This one I'm just going to mirror image what I've done on the other side of it. So going round in the centre in circles, and then just taking the applicator and brushing out towards the outside of the petals. And while I'm talking to you, I've just popped my iron on, so it should be nice and hot to work with. It's just a domestic house iron. It's just a cheapie that I use for my crafts. I wouldn't want to use my good iron for it, just because you do get some ink transfer that sits in the wells. It wouldn't be good for your white shirts and t-shirts to be so doing that little dotty dot just to add some darker areas, and then the green pen I used. Just take and just add some dotty dotties with your pen. You don't have to go that detailed on the other side of the petals. I just wanted to show you the technique that I used. So last little one, and then we'll start shaping these. Right, so for these you're going to want your iron nice and hot, so I'll pop that here. You also want a tool of choice. I prefer to use a ball tool because what I do is I pop the shape on and then let it fall off. If you don't have a ball tool, some tweezers, just something to hold it against the hot plate to make sure that your hands are kept well away. So I'm going to take the shape over to the hot plate. I'm putting it on from one side so my fingers are nowhere near it. I'm going to hold it in place and you can actually see it shaping itself. So move the iron away from you. And what I'm going to do is you're going to try and gather the tips of the petals so they're all together at the end there. And you want to squeeze right at the tips of the petals, not so much at this end, but you want to give them a little twist and then pop it in the palm of your hand and just give it a little roll. Now there's a great little tool for doing this that you can buy if you have dexterity issues and you just want an extra bit of grip, but I don't need it, so I'm just gonna use my hands. Usually end up with ink everywhere, but it comes off quite easily. So, and then I'm just gonna open it back up. And then you shape these all different ways depending on what type of flowers they are. These aren't anything in particular, I've just made it up. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to take each petal, and being careful for your fingernails because it does rip quite easily. I'm just going to gently tug at the flowers, at the petals rather, just to give them that little bit of shape, and then that's one layer done. Bring your iron back in. Ball tool to hold it in place, pop it on the hot plate, and then 1, 2, 3 off. Move your iron away, just so there's no risk of you catching yourself. As it's formed a little cup itself, I'm just going to try and match these all at the end there, and then a twist right at the end. Trying not to do that end because it just makes it a little bit more difficult to open up. So right on the tips of the petals, give it a good rub. And this just helps the petals look more realistic, gives them all a unique little shape. So I do have a few foam videos, so some are used to spread out the petals to different shapes, so if you want to pop over and have a look at some of those, you can do. So I'm just pulling these from the base of the petals. Sometimes I shape the top, so it's all different depending on what you want it to look like. So there's my second layer. Do a couple more, why not? So a thank you so much for everyone being so patient while I moved. We are still unpacking. I think I'm going to be unpacking for a while, but we are definitely getting there. So thank you to everyone for the patience, and thank you for your support in the Facebook group. If you found me by chance and you're watching this, we have a lovely little community on Facebook. So why not pop over and join us? I will include a link in the first comment of the video and in the description of the video. Depending on what device you are, not everyone can find the description box. So if you look through the comments, the first comment will be a link to all the information you need to know. I'll do a little write-up of different inks and stuff that I've used. There we go. I love paper flowers as well as foam. I think they both have their place. But I did some some wedding flowers the other week, all in foam. I did all the corsages and buttonholes because they were travelling to the wedding and they couldn't get fresh ones, so they looked pretty sweet. And these are also great for using in your Christmas projects because you can, if you've got plaques and things that you do and special decorations around the home, these are less likely to get squished and damaged than the card and paper ones. So iron in. Oh, 1, 2, 3, off. So it's up to you. Because I've done so much detail in the centre, you might choose not to put any stamens in. You might just want to leave them as they are. But I'll show you how I've put the stamens in this one in a second. There we go. So just pop these over to one side. I'm going to unplug the iron. I don't want to leave anything plugged in longer than it needs to be at the minute. So I'm going to take that one and I'm going to take this one. Now, when you're first starting off with stamens, I suggest you try and use larger petals, larger flowers, just it gives you a little bit more area to work with in the centre to get the pins through. Just so you've got the hang of it, and then you can get smaller and smaller, you'll find it easier to work with. So I'm going to take some of these lovely stamens and I'm going to try and line them all up together. And I've got lots of different ones here. These are readily available online. There's loads of different brands. Obviously, depending on where in the world you are. I've got loads in Hobbycraft in the UK, Michael's in Canada, in America. I even got some ones from Walmart. Really nice. When I was living in Canada. Hobby Lobby. I'm really sorry, guys. I'm not really up with me Australian craft shops, so I need to be educated in that. So if anyone who's in Australia knows where you can get some really good stamens, please feel free to pop them in the comments, or anywhere else in the world. I'm just going off where most of my ladies are from in my group. So I have, this is the fiddly bit. So I've taken a piece of wire, and this is just really lightweight gauge wire. You can get this at most craft shops, or why not pop in and support your local florist. They'll sell you some. Just tell them what you're doing. Just tell them it's for craft projects. Sometimes they can be a little bit funny supplying things if they think you're in competition with them, if you were wreath making or something like that. But if you tell them it's for paper crafts, they'll probably sell you some. Or a local garden centre. So all I'm going to do is I've folded it in half. I'm going to slot the pin through. She says. And then I'm just gonna pull that down so it's literally gone right in between them. Pop that to one side for a second. Now you're going to want something sharp. You could use a craft knife, but you obviously want to be careful of your hands, or something that's going to be able to pierce through the foam and create a nice hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take them off individually to do it, because it'll be a bit easier, because what you want to do is make sure you can get in the centre of the flower. I'm just going to pull that up a little bit on the scissors just to make the hole bigger, and then into the second one. I'm not going to worry about the placement of the petals just yet. I'll deal with that in a second. I'm just wanting to create a nice big hole in the centre to get all, when you're thinking of how big of the hole you need it to be, you need all of these to go through. So give it a little twist, take the scissors off, and then while you've got it held in place, just grab your wires and you want to stick both tails through, and then you want to give it a good tug. There we go. Now if you notice there's one just come out of alignment, so I'm just going to pull him down a little bit, find out which one he is. There he is. And then you can move the petals around where you want them to be. And I'm just going to use some hot glue and glue that in place. So there's a smaller bud one, and then there's your larger flower. When you're using the larger petals, I've pulled them through roughly about the same depth, but because the petals are longer on this one, you can, it looks as though the stamens are more inserted. Well, I hope you've liked this little video. If you would like to see more on the foam sheets, let me know in the comments. And as I say, why not pop over and join me on Facebook? So I'm going to crack on, get this done, and then I'll show you at the end pictures of the plaque when it's finished. Thank you for joining me. Take care. Bye-bye.